Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a wonderful day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This was news that shocked the cryptocurrency space. I'm not sure how we continue to get here as a community, but alas, here we are. Pashov, someone who claims to be an expert in smart contract security reviews, has reviewed the freshly launched stablecoin known as PayPal USD, PYUSD, for one of the largest companies in the world. Obviously PayPal. For those of you who missed that just a couple of days ago, PayPal announced that they had created and subsequently also launched a stablecoin called PayPal US Dollar. From what I can remember, I believe it is built on top of the Ethereum blockchain, which got a lot of people to believe that Ethereum is going to skyrocket, move higher, have crazy movements in price. People were talking about that it's absolutely incredible for adoption, in that if major companies began to use stablecoins and or utilize PayPal stablecoin and or people on their platform chose to use stablecoins over using normal PayPal dollars, whatever they're called, therefore there would be more activity on Ethereum, more ether would be burned, PayPal would make money, Ethereum's supply would drop, and the price would also rise. So you understand there was a bit of excitement when all of this was first released. The PYUSD was announced on the 7th of August, and a brief review was posted on Twitter, now known as X, on the same day, with what they're calling some concerning revelations. And I quote, "The new PayPal USD stablecoin has an asset protection role which can wipe your balance in 2 transactions. The first transaction being a freeze, and then the second one being a wipe frozen address. In smart contract security, we call this a centralization attack vector," end quote. According to Pashov, the person who claims to be an expert, PayPal will be able to concede a special role to selected development team members who will be able to execute delicate code functionalities, such as freezing accounts and cleaning frozen account balances. So I'm going to try and say this as nice as humanly possible, because we've been here so many times before. So one of my main things within the cryptocurrency space, when getting into it, and even I dare even say still now, comes around the idea of decentralization. I've noticed that over the last couple of years, 6 to 7, for some reason, a large number of people who have gotten into or getting into, will be in the space tomorrow, are mainly here for the money. I get it. Times are hard. We all want to make millions. I understand the way that the world is working. But it always seems like a bit of a shame when people get into the space and care nothing about decentralization, not realizing that many people are currently in their economic predicament because of the old system. So when we talk about a system that is decentralized, fair, free, and open for everyone, that could potentially benefit everyone, you would assume that people would be getting into crypto, not only for the money-making aspect, but to be like, hey, look at what this new system could do for me and 8 billion other people on the planet. A lot of times when people get into the cryptocurrency space, whether that be a multitude of things, cryptocurrencies that aren't actually decentralized, DeFi, decentralized financial projects that have no fragment of decentralization to them. Going to cryptocurrency exchanges, the cryptocurrency exchange freezing your money, taking your money, not allowing you to withdraw your money or sell your cryptocurrencies, and then people going on Twitter and screaming at the top of their lungs, "I can't believe it, I thought this space was decentralized," because you only care about decentralization when you think it should be benefiting you and not the entirety of the community. So on the idea that about a year, no, it's been a couple of years at this point, when PayPal announced quite optimistically that they were getting into the cryptocurrency space, I told a multitude of other people, there are a number of ways and places where you can get your cryptocurrency from. You do not have to rely on PayPal because we are not in 2011, and PayPal is not the only place where you can get your cryptocurrencies. Same exact thing goes for cryptocurrency wallets. For those of you who are new here, hello. I've mentioned many a time to my listeners and followers, understand that this is a brand new system. And as long as you are legally able to, in your own country, able to separate all of your cryptocurrencies and put it in different places, I would implore you to do so. That is to say, don't have all your crypto in one basket. Don't have everything on Coinbase. Don't have everything on Kraken. Spread it out. Buy some ledgers, have it in secret places so that if something should happen, you still have a good batch of money left somewhere else and you are not restricted from your funds. When you hear about Visa and PayPal getting actively into the cryptocurrency space, it's a bit of a red flag. Not a red flag in that something is inherently wrong, which it lightly is because these companies are trying to figure out a way to corner a decentralized market that should be operating on its own. And they believe that because they are so big and are so rich that they should actually control a huge segment of our space. For those of you who missed it before, Visa announced that not only were they getting into Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they're trying to find a way to have payments flow through Ethereum, go to Visa, and then swing back out onto the blockchain, which makes absolutely no sense. It is another part that has to then be added to the equation when the blockchain is secure enough. And also on top of that, we've been getting a lot of news, I believe, of PayPal as well. And also of, what's the other one? Visa, maybe MasterCard, where you can now buy cryptocurrencies on MetaMask, which is supposed to be a decentralized self-custody place for you to acquire cryptocurrencies. The moment you link your Visa, your MasterCard, your PayPal to MetaMask or anything else that is decentralized, and you give them access to the information on that wallet, they can download and pretty much see openly on the blockchain every other transaction that was associated with that wallet. So you are linking things that you did not want to link for a slight ease of use, as opposed to, if you are able to legally do so, doing it in a more decentralized manner. So on top of the news that PayPal, who's actively into crypto, we can only assume they also own a lot of crypto, you can't sell Bitcoin unless you own it, was making their own stablecoin. Imagine me not being shocked at the allegations here. Once again, allegations, and I'm going to go a little bit further into what people think it actually is, as far as even the idea of the developers being able to stop and freeze things. Understand that PayPal, Coinbase, all of these mega companies that you keep hearing getting into the cryptocurrency space, BlackRock, Fidelity, they're not here to help us out. They are here because they believe that at some point, Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million+. They are multi-trillion-dollar companies who are trying to become quadrillionaires. Understand that, and you will have a great time in life. These people do not care about us. When you talk about the rules and regulations that they fall under, when you have the category as I am a company, it is completely different than if I am an individual. This is why there is a retail investor and an institutional investor. If you, PayPal, are dealing with a situation where there could be someone on your platform who potentially holds $15,000, $25,000, $35,000, $120,000 in US dollars, in euros, in yen, in a stable coin, and that person tries to transfer it to someone else, you are going to, as a company and an individual, going to undergo an immense amount of KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering rules. There's no way around it. It makes logical sense that a company like PayPal, who is hyper and was in the beginning hyper scrutinized over how they're allowing people to send money around the world with the introduction of a stablecoin on their centralized platform that they own called PayPal, would then be hiring developers to make sure that if someone has an account with $20,000, $55,000, $150,000 worth of US dollars, euros or yen, or a stable coin, would have some kind of a freeze option. When you deal with centralized entities, they are going to do centralized things. Do you remember, it was no more than 14 days ago, no more than, where we had news once again that a lot of people were quite angry with Apple, not the fruit, the actual company. Why? Because Apple wasn't allowing certain apps on their platforms that had to do with NFTs, it had to do with DeFi, that had to do with cryptocurrency payments. And people were like, well, this is a decentralized market. You are dealing with a centralized company. Part of the problem is that the banks and the institutions have encroached so much that people literally no longer care what happens to the old system or the new. We are the new system. You've been thrown around the room before by banks and the same institutions who don't care about you. They get into the cryptocurrency space and then you complain when they don't re-care about you again. But what are they doing? I don't understand. Why would they be able to freeze our accounts? Have you ever used PayPal? Have you ever used a bank account? Do you know how these entities work? I'm just so flabbergasted that this was, by the way, one of the most popular news stories out there. The amount of people what's going on? Like, is it like we're getting like 1 million new people every day who are just getting within the space who don't know how things work? It's not that difficult. Like, you can even, I remember years ago, 1,000 years ago, you could go into YouTube and there were videos. What is Bitcoin? What is a blockchain? How does a blockchain work? What's decentralization? I feel like we need to send all of those to our friends once again because no one seems to really understand exactly what's happening. Once a week now, we're getting this situation where people are complaining about stuff that they have no right to complain about. PayPal is a company that does not care about you. They want your money. They want your transaction fees. That's why they made a stablecoin. You know, we have a bunch of other stablecoins that are, and I say this lightly, are actually in some way decentralized as they're on multiple chains and you can use them free of will how you want. You are not obligated to use PayPal to buy your cryptocurrencies. You're not obligated to use PayPal to use their stablecoin. You're not obligated to use any cryptocurrency exchange. I'm not sure how we keep getting to this point where like people are complaining about centralized entities doing what they're going to do because they are a company under one name. It's not called PayPal decentralized. What am I missing? Here's the actual tweet for it right here, where they're talking about the freeze and then the wipe frozen addresses part. Also, just a little bit of clarification as far as like how mega companies work. I personally do not own a 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, $80 billion company, but I can tell you quite well, if they freeze and or wipe an address, they understand that there would be backlash. They're not doing it to stand at the top of the mountain and go, yeah, look what we did to your money. It's probably for good cause because they would have also gotten in trouble if that previous activity had been allowed to continue on their platform. So it's some kind of a fail-safe that they have. The person was able to access the smart contract source code at Etherscan DethNet, that is DETH, a platform for public code audits on Ethereum smart contracts. In his Twitter bio, he says he's done solely 30 solo contract reviews, blah, 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 so and so and so. The original poster also stated that this centralization attack vector is also present on Tether and Circles USD as they both have similar code functions. David Schwartz, the CTO at Ripple, says this is nonsense, pointing to the fact that the centralization actually lies on PayPal being legally obligated to redeem its stablecoin for dollars. He said this mitigates that risk by helping to prevent innocent people from receiving tokens that PayPal is not legally obligated to redeem. So, once again, always we end up back at this crossroads kind of situation. PayPal's a company. They can do what they want. If you are more interested in protecting your money, understanding what Bitcoin and decentralization are and how they can benefit you and how to stay away from centralized companies or entities who could potentially freeze your money, it's not difficult to do so. Do your own research. Like, actually just do research. It's really not that difficult. I promise you. So yeah, this was by far one of the most spoken about things. Here's the actual code right here for those of you who are Cody and knows what this says. Yeah. Right. Just because, last thought. The problem is during the next bull run, a lot of people, some of you mathematically, logically, are going to be making a good chunk of change. You are going to have your money, your cryptocurrencies on websites, on crypto exchanges, and you are going to be frustrated when you can't withdraw, when sometimes you can't deposit, you can't move your funds, you can't convert your funds to your local currency, and you can't even swap out your money to your bank account. It is going to happen. I am telling you, I've seen this so many times before. The market goes crazy. You want to sell and you can't because you haven't done verification. Your account hasn't been used in a long time. Get all your ducks, your eggs, your roosters in a row right now. Find out where you have all your money. Even more so, I would even write it down. A lot of times people have cryptocurrencies in so many different places. You forget where you have money. The market goes up and you realize you can't have access to your funds. You are going to be angry. There's a reason why many people have them on a ledger or have them on their computer. That's the PayPal stablecoin might have a centralized point somewhere. News. And yeah, let's move on. Also in water is extremely wet news. Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman says additional interest rate increases will likely be needed to get inflation on a path down to the Fed's target. She said, I will also be watching for signs of slowing in consumer spending and signs that the labor market conditions are loosening, the Fed governor added. My word, this is yet another. And I used to put topics like this in stupid news, but I won't, because I understand that like there's so many other things happening in everyone's life. We're all going through a whole bunch of nonsense. Believe me, I get it. That sometimes when you hear news, it kind of frazzles you, razzles you, throws you somewhere, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? We have known for a while that the Fed is going to continue raising interest rates because even right now, inflation is still lightly rising with the consumer price index around the world. They keep trying to raise interest rates and it's not exactly working as they keep thinking that it's going to work. You would not believe how hungry people are right now to make money. I will tell you honestly, I think a large portion of the world is understanding what's happening and what's been going on. I'm trying to figure out if we should even talk about this right now. If you look at everything that's been going on since 2020, and I mean even from an economic perspective, people are hungry. The amount of houses and homes that are being bought by corporations, you must have seen this news. They are buying up. I get algorithmically given news about this from the States a lot. I watched one video to completion. It keeps showing it to me over, not that one story, but news stories about the similar things. People are realizing that these companies are buying up all the real estate. There are certain, calculations. People are looking that by the year 2050, 2050, more than half of all homes within the United States will be owned by a company. I think people see this, and this increases their hunger because they're trying to get their own home right now to be able to have the security of their own home and or pass money on to the next generation, whatever your life goals might actually be. It's the same thing in the stock market. Regardless of how much interest rates keep rising, stocks keep trying to push up. Same exact thing with the cryptocurrency market. Everyone is like in this really weird position where we're basically all frothing at the mouth right now. And I mean, even 2x because of the cryptocurrency space. You have us waiting for interest rates to stop rising so the stock market can go absolutely bananas. When the stock market goes insane, the cryptocurrency market goes insane. When the cryptocurrency market begins to go insane, we'll know that that's the beginning of the 2024-2025 bull run. And you got people talking about a $250,000, $300,000, $500,000 Bitcoin, a $15,000 Ethereum, and all the other altcoins doing crazy numbers as well. We are simply, everyone's waiting at the gate for 2 centimeters, 1 inch for the gate to open so that we can all burst through and continue making tons of money. I saw this article earlier and I chuckled a tiny, tiny bit. It says, I will look for signs of slowing consumer spending. Have you seen? It's actually incredible. Nearly every single economic slowdown and or recession that we've seen over the last 20 or so years has usually been followed by a consumer spending slowdown that is indicative of, okay, people are at their absolute minimum or maximum, depending on how you look at it. Like they just don't want to spend anymore. Everyone's saving, everyone's putting money to the side. The amount of money in people's savings accounts and their bank accounts are rapidly decreasing since the end of 2021 because people cannot stop buying stuff. They look for signs of people slowing down on their spending as an indication that, okay, we've reached the bottom of the market, and therefore let's turn the valve back on so that people begin spending again. That spending has only increased since the market began to go down. If you get a chance, here's a little thing right here as well. Luxury goods have almost doubled. Not price-wise, they've also gone up in price, but the amount of people who are buying them has skyrocketed since the end of 2021. There's a lot of speculation that this might have happened because maybe people want to treat themselves. The last couple of years haven't been that nice to everyone, therefore everyone wants to do something nice for themselves. But it's a complete inverse of what it should actually be. During the course of the stock market falling, crypto market falling, houses prices are supposed to be falling. I saw a meme yesterday and I half laughed, chuckled. It was one with this guy. You must have seen it. It says at the top, it's like property prices are going to fall in 2020. He's like, you sure about that? You sure about that? Because they fell by like 4%. And they've been rising everywhere else. Consumer spending is not slowing down at all. And this is usually one of the signs that they can, begin to slow down with the interest rate increases, but no one's stopping. Even with interest rates this high, normal people are still like, okay, cool. The interest rate isn't 0% anymore. It's 5 or 6%. I'm still going to buy a home because no one knows what's going to happen over the course of the next couple of years or if they even can completely get inflation under control. Because logically, if they're having trouble with a year and a half of interest rate rises, when they stop those interest rate rises, it's going to go exactly back to how it was before. If nothing has slowed down, it is only going to hyper accelerate. It's so fascinating, like what's happening right now. We are living in unprecedented times. You do not understand. Like this is so insane to be around right now. Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman indicated in her remarks on Saturday at an event hosted by the Kansas Bankers Association in Colorado that the U.S. Central Bank may need to implement additional interest rate increases to completely restore price stability. She also affirmed her endorsement of the rate hike decision made at last month's meeting. In July, Fed officials raised the federal funds rate to a range of 5.25% to 5.5%, the highest in 22 years. We heard middle of last year, they were planning on raising it no more than 5%. Inflation didn't go down. This is where we currently are. So as we know right now, this news made unpopular headlines because we basically know that we are going to have another interest rate hike. I think it's expected in September. I think that's the time frame. And then we're probably going to have one more after that. I would logically assume we are going to have at least 3 more this year. It just seems like what they're trying to do. The European Central Bank keeps doing the exact same thing. I feel like they think that they're tricky or smart, like doing it, oh, I think we're going to raise it again. Like everyone knows what you're doing. Everyone's literally just waiting. I have friends who are buying so much stocks in crypto in anticipation of things. It is mind-boggling. You would not believe what money is doing right now. Like everyone's preparing for the exact same event that we all know is going to happen. Basically, the market's going back up, maybe even in unison at this point. Governor Bowman stated additional rate increases will likely be needed to get inflation on a path to the FOMC's 2% target. The recent lower inflation reading was positive, but I will be looking for consistent evidence that inflation is on a meaningful path down towards our 2% goal as I consider further rate increases and how long the federal funds rate will need to remain at a restrictive level. I remember when I was, so last part, kind of dumb. Remember like those videos we used to see when we were like kids on TV, like of how like money's printed and it was always like that one gigantic long sheet of money, like being like chopped at certain points. And then like, I remember watching a documentary as a kid, maybe it was on TV. It must've been like, there was no whatever. And I remember thinking as a kid, I was like, whoa, that person's so lucky. Like they can go home with all that money. Like in my mind, I thought that money was like, I don't know why. I thought that money was like printed for them. And I was like, you know how lucky you have to be? You can just walk into a room and there's like new money there. Like I just picture people like picking up a stack of money and being like, okay, well, this is great. See you guys tomorrow. I don't know. Anyway, spoken about news simply because the cryptocurrency market, I'm not really sure actually. I think it has to do with the fact that now like another new rate increase is going to be happening. I'm assuming that there's 3 more. They told us they would be stopping in May. This was what we were told last year. And they're still going, so we can only assume that there's going to be more because, yeah. That's the Fed might be raising interest rates again. I'm not surprised because that's how things are, news. And yeah. Let's move on. Bitstamp, the cryptocurrency exchange headquartered in Europe, is in discussions to raise money. This was said by Jean-Baptiste Graftiaux, Graftieaux, Graftiaux, as per a report from Bloomberg. Here's a tweet for it right here. I can't really tell what's going on. It's like the back of people's heads and like words on the wall. That's fantastic. The exchange reportedly plans to use their funds for various operations such as launching derivatives trading in Europe next year. Furthermore, the platform plans to use the funds for a further expansion of their global footprint in other markets in Asia and increasing their market operations inside of the United Kingdom. In reference to all of this, Graftiaux said, Bitstamp is not for sale, and we are not actively, I know why. And we are not actively looking to sell the company. Our current and exclusive priority is to raise money through strategic investors to accelerate Bitstamp's growth by providing new products and services to retail and institutional cryptocurrency customers. Okay, there was a rumor a couple of weeks ago that Bitstamp was trying to sell, that they were going to be acquired by a larger entity. The rumor usually always ends up being Binance. People think that Binance is buying everything. There was also rumors. What's the other one? It's not Bitstamp. It's I can't remember what it's called. The one that's associated with Justin's son. There were rumors of insolvency, I mean like 5 or 6 days ago, where people were assuming that Justin's son had moved a large amount of money to another crypto exchange or somewhere else because of insolvency on the other exchange, and that he might be. It was a whole bunch of absolute nonsense that was floating around. Every time that guy makes it into the news, I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Like, I don't really care because it's always something controversial. But I think Bitstamp was also a part of that as well, as far as like, oh no, they must be selling because, you know, money's moving around on their platform. So this, if you could see my arms, I mean, I'm telling you, my arms flail as I'm talking. Like, I'm constantly doing these like mamma mia, like little like hand scrunch kind of things, and I'm like flailing everywhere. I don't know why I do it. I have a lot of emotions. Yeah. So cool. A huge portion of I'm not joking. A huge portion of the news was that Bitstamp, a European crypto exchange, is looking to expand further into Europe. I mean, I'm shocked. I've never seen an American crypto exchange looking to expand further into America. That's just completely unheard of. And also having to announce that they're not for sale because people make so many rumors. Where do these things start? How do they always take off? Like, there's always a situation where like someone randomly says something, everyone loses it, and like that becomes like the news that everyone's like, oh, well, they're clearly being sold. I saw it on Twitter twice. I don't know. Anyway, cool. That's the Bitstamp is not for sale, and they're expanding further into the continent that they are already on. Wow. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, or great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.